Welcome to the Financial Ginger. I am Jacob Johnson. We're just going to have fun because it's relaunch episode number 1. Woo. I think the old podcast had 24 episodes, so we're going to provide value. We're going to learn. We're going to grow. It's going to be a party. And today we've got Devere on the show.
Hi.
I suppose I should just start with just, general, like what is your story? How did you get to do what you're doing?
So real estate agent. I've been in the business 6.5 years. And it kind of all started when my husband and I got married. We took a financial self-reliance class, personal finance class together while we were engaged, which is my number one piece of marriage advice for anybody that's looking to get engaged. We've never really thought about money because of that, which has been fantastic. So because of that, we were very motivated to buy our first home. We knew that it was something we wanted to do, but we didn't really know what that looked like. My husband, Tyson, for some reason, started listening to the Bigger Pockets podcast. I'm sure that most people are familiar with that. And with that, he just really leaned into, we need to buy our first home and we need to buy it as a duplex or something that has, an ADU, something that we can rent out and have that income. We were both working full-time at the time, not in real estate related industries at all. He was in manufacturing. I was in software implementation stuff. And we let our family members know that we were looking to buy a property. We had been married about a year at this point. And I had a family member that had a duplex. He lives out of the country and was ready to kind of be hands off on it. So we decided to look into buying that. About a month or two before, we had attended a home buying seminar at a local credit union. And that was really informational, but it didn't give us like concrete steps to take. It was very abstract at that time. And so we had some kind of general ideas about the process, but didn't really have a clear path. Yeah. So
just go do it. We're going to fight and win, but figure it out.
Well, and it was very much call us. And I'm like, I didn't connect with the agent that was there at all. I didn't relate to, the way his messaging was done. Not that it was bad. It was just not what I wanted, what I connected with. So we just kind of started doing it on our own. A family member that lived here kind of got involved with an agent friend of hers, but not really because they didn't want to pay him. So it was just very like we were trying to save money, trying to do it on our own, didn't know what way we wanted to go. And the process was very messy, and it wasn't anyone's fault. It was just the nature of the beast. It was a very complicated process. We did an FHA loan with 3.5% down at the time. It was really stressful because it was an FHA loan. It's an older home, and FHA has
like a lot of rules,
condition requirements for the home.
Oh.
And it doesn't matter if it's new or old, if there's peeling paint, because they see that as neglect of the property, or if there's missing handrails, things like that, they want those fixed before closing. So we did that work ourselves because the family member we were buying it from was out of country. And
was it vacant when you were buying it?
No, it had renters.
Occupied and re-stuccoing or painting.
So we spent hours with a hand scraper scraping the peeling paint off the entire exterior of the house because it's wood siding, and wood siding in Utah that's painted peels. I mean, it chips and peels like no matter what. And of course, it's a 1930s built home. So then there's the possibility of lead-based paint, which introduced a whole nother set of problems. Thankfully, it had mostly been painted over, so it wasn't a huge issue. But I still felt like we had to wear masks and gloves and all that stuff, especially the masks because the airborne. Anyway,
lead paint.
So spent all that time doing that. Our lock expired on our loan.
Oh.
Which I had no idea what that meant.
Yeah.
I was like, what do you mean?
Like when you buy a home, you have to do it within a certain amount of time.
Yeah. So you have to do it within a certain amount of time. Your lender locks the interest rate at a certain point in the process so that when you go to close, you still are locked in at that rate. If you go too long, they have to pay for a lock extension, or you have to start the whole process over.
Yeah, and in an environment where interest rates are changing all the time, that could be
Constantly,
expensive.
for sure. And it did. It caused us some major problems. We had to restart the loan. And we weren't that far from closing, but the problem was we were doing the work ourselves. So of course it took forever. Yep. We both were working full time. So we were only doing it, after work. And it was just a disaster in a lot of ways. It was very stressful. And because we didn't really have an agent involved, we didn't really know our lender. Like there was no one that really felt like they were on our side.
It was just when you're ready to buy it.
Right.
Give me a call.
Let me know. Yeah, I'll help you with the paperwork, which was fine. Again, that was fine. I just wish I had understood the process so much more.
Or had someone that would have walked you through it or gone through, you said you had a whole class on it, but
it was so unclear what the actual steps were. Yeah. So that was kind of our first home buying experience.
Stressful.
It was very stressful.
But you got the house.
But we got the house and it turned into one of the greatest investments for us ever.
Yeah.
We ended up moving into the basement after we got a renter out that was like a total hoarder.
Oh.
So we had to redo some stuff inside too before we could move in. So it was just like a lot of things that looking back, I'm like, man, that was a huge project. And I wish we had started with maybe something a little less
intensive.
Yeah.
But it probably made a huge difference on price.
It did.
But at the same time, extra costs of closing extensions and interest rates and all that.
Yep. Sheetrock, paint. I don't know how many 5-gallon buckets of paint I bought in my life that have gone on to that house.
Oh my gosh.
Interior and exterior. We have painted, I'm sure it's very thick at this point. But that's kind of the story. Like that's the long version of getting started in real estate. About a year later, I decided, well, it wasn't even a year. It was about 6 months later, I decided to get licensed as a real estate agent. And I didn't want people to have to go through that the way I did.
Yeah.
And I saw the value in learning the process myself. And I knew that we were going to keep investing in real estate. I knew that that was not the only property we were going to have. And so for us, it just made sense for me to get licensed as a real estate agent and start working through life that way. And so I did. It took about 6 months for me to get my license. After that, I quit my job in, software, customer support stuff. I learned a lot of really valuable things from that job that applied to real estate in some weird ways, but
that'd be so stressful.
Yeah.
Like going out on your own, like losing your income, starting from zero and being like, hey, someone pay me to do what I'm going to do.
Yes. So, but I knew I could do it.
Yeah.
And I attribute a lot of that to my parents. My parents are successful business owners. They have an antique store. You wouldn't think that an antique store could provide, a good income for a family, but they did that my whole life. And I just knew that entrepreneurship is one of the best ways to build wealth. And I knew that real estate was one of the best ways to build wealth. And I needed people to know that. Yeah. And so for me, that was just huge. Like I need to teach people about investing and make sure that they understand that real estate builds generational wealth, not just for you, but for your children, for, other people. You're creating opportunity for other people, which is important to me too.
Well, I've heard it said, and it's something that I think about quite frequently, is like there's three, I think it's three, maybe it's four. We'll get through it and then we'll see if there's four. There's basically 3 ways to build wealth. Yeah. Right. First way, real estate. Second way, slow and steady investing in your job, right? Put aside 10, 15% of your income every month and save that in a S&P or whatever,
but who can do that right now? Who can take 10 to 15% of their income? I mean, what? No way.
Yeah, that's the second way. Let's see. So real estate was the first one. That's the most important one, real estate. And then the third one was building a business, right? And so why not do both of them?
Yeah.
Why not do two of them? Why not build a business and do real estate? Why not whatever, right? Or if you're working W-2, work your job, save some of that money, do your employer match and buy real estate. Like, it's not too hard to do.
For sure.
In fact, someone that I'm going to have on in the near future, he recently he went from 1 property to 4 properties. So I'm really excited to talk to him about that.
That's
I'm like,
cool.
How in 1 year did you leverage and all that? But yeah, that's the way to get wealthy.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
Well, and there's lots of ways to protect yourself from potential risk with that too. And I think that's something a lot of people don't understand. I'm going to start doing not just a first-time homebuyer class, but a first-time investor class. Because so many people that are in a home think, okay, we could rent this one out and buy something else, but they don't know what steps to take beyond that. They're like, how do we find renters? How do we, vet the renters? I mean,
that would be super. I would want to go to that because I had that problem because I've got 2 rental properties, as you know. Devere helped me buy my current house. Yay. And the first 2, the second one was way smoother, but the first one was really stressful because I didn't know how to find tenants. Like, I just threw it out on like Zillow and stuff, and that didn't work for like a month. And then I reached out to one of my friends who's a realtor property manager, and they're like, oh, we can. And I was like, well, that's so expensive. The margins are really thin, right? Because I'd done a minimum down payment on a property, and I'm like, oh, I'd have to charge more rent than I could to be able to make that work. And so they're like, oh, we can do a fee just to find tenants. Yeah. And they did great with those tenants. In fact, they've been in there for almost 4 years now, like the same tenants, which is great. They're awesome people. Yeah. I mean, obviously I don't want to be too much information about them, but they had a little baby a couple years ago, and I've been able to keep the rent relatively stable for them. And but it was stressful. So knowing how to find tenants and how to qualify, and the expenses you don't think about. For sure. Oh my gosh, like that's scary. It's like, oh yeah, you have to repaint and replace carpet, and you can't just survive on that whatever small margin. You have to plan in that margin to pay for expenses. So it's not as simple as you think.
But in a lot of other ways, it's more simple than people think too. Yeah. So we did it as newlyweds. We had a renter upstairs. We lived in the basement. And it just is so interesting that people don't realize that real estate is a forced savings account, essentially, because you're paying down your equity, right? And as inflation continues to go up, your debt is worth less, right? Does that make sense? Like, if you have a $300,000 loan, that's more of a problem. In 10 years, it's less of a problem. Exactly. Right? Like $300,000 loan, and it is going to be paid down. Exactly. You're paying your mortgage, whatever. Yeah. There's also the tax benefits. Yeah. That's something I noticed last year with my taxes. I'm like, oh, wait, I'm writing off all this, and it's not quite as bad as I thought. Yeah, for sure. Yep. So that's super helpful. So that's something that I've looked into doing, is doing a first-time investor class, so that it's a little less intimidating for people to really understand the process of becoming a landlord. That's kind of my niche with real estate, is helping renters become landlords. That's kind of one of my catchphrases. And again, it's because I know the value of it. Like, there's just so much that you can do as a landlord. And again, like you said, your renters have had a baby, and you've kept their rent relatively low. Like, you're providing a service for people. That's one of the other things that, people looking into investing have that stigma of, I don't want to be a greedy landlord. Yep. But you're not. You're providing a home for someone. You're providing a nice place to live for someone that maybe isn't in a position to buy, or they're in transition between a marriage and divorce and moving to a new place. Maybe they don't know if they want to live here forever. All those types of things. You are providing an incredibly valuable service. Or flexibility, right? Yeah. For some people, they're like, I want to be a month-to-month tenant after the first year. Exactly. And it's like, they can leave whenever they want. Right. And that's a risk you're taking on as the landlord. And it's a value provided for them, because everyone's like, oh, I hate signing leases. I'm like, there's some landlords that don't. Right. It might be more expensive. It might be not. Yeah. Or a lot of my tenants have said is, they're like, it's so nice because I can get a hold of you. Right. Or it's so nice because I don't have to worry about, if I didn't sign a renewal lease, my renewal automatically going up a certain amount that's in the contract, or whatever it is.
right, being personable or being a family friend or whatever. I mean, I don't personally like to have tenants that are relatives, but
we don't either.
some people like that. You know, I have a lot of friends that are like, hey, we're trying to rent, send me a friend, and it's a friend of a friend. But yeah, there's value people don't realize. Funny thing. One of my friends who is a business coach, he was telling me about a coach who puts bad negative comments on hats and then wears them for like his events or podcasts like that. And so like I put one greedy landlord, just wear it as a hat. You know, like what names people have called you. I should do that. I really want to do it. Just buy some hats.
I want a greedy landlord hat. That's pretty great.
Yeah, because you're not, right? You're obviously trying to make a living and you're not going to lose money on an asset you own. But someone that doesn't want to put down or able to put down 5% on a house, it's like, hey, the last house I bought, I put $30,000 down. Yeah. There's a lot of people that couldn't do that, right? Or it would take them 5 or 6 years. And so renting, and I know I'm a lot cheaper than some of the places. Like I know some of the places nearby mine that are renting for like $200 or $300 more than what I'm charging. And I'm fine with that, right? Like I'm still able to make my margin.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
And one of the things we've decided to do is allow pets because I mean,
oh my gosh, yes.
Most households now have a pet. Yep. They either have a dog or cat or both.
Or a bunch of reptiles.
For us, it just made sense. I mean, we had dogs. Yeah. And that was one of the biggest motivators for us to buy a home. Yes, they're cute beagles. It's a mom and son, and the son's a little special. He tattles on himself, which is the best thing. He's the most guilty, loyal dog that's around. He's hilarious.
Like, he'll chew up a sock and then bring it to you to apologize?
Not even that. Like, if we're gone for a few hours and come home, and his favorite thing is to get in the garbage can in the bathroom. Like, rip up toilet paper. Like, that's what they love. I don't know why. But if he does that, like, we'll walk in the door and he's already, like, laying on the floor. Like, on his back.
I'm sorry.
Like, That's so funny. It's great. He's a wonderful dog. The other one, she just sneaks under the bed like an hour before bedtime so that she can wait till we're asleep and then jump on the bed. So she's very intelligent. Precious. But
anyways, allowing
ADHD pets, sidetrack.
Definitely a value add.
Yeah, for sure.
Because a lot of places won't, or they want like a separate pet deposit that's like an entire month's rent or whatever. Yeah. And
but again,
there's nothing wrong with them doing that.
There's a risk when you're taking on a pet. So we have ways to mitigate that. And again, that's something that, as a first-time landlord, a lot of people don't understand. Our insurance has breed restrictions.
Yes.
And so we just make that very clear. Honestly, we just make it clear from the beginning when we post the listing, these are breeds that we can't allow. And it's because of our insurance. And we're very clear on how many pets that we can allow. And we just post it all up front so that people know and understand. We charge a pet rent, we charge a pet deposit, but essentially that just covers, carpet cleaning. Because if you have pets, it's pretty much going to need to be cleaned, deep clean the carpets. And the pet rent, again, just covers any additional expenses, to landscaping or paint or blinds. Our last one, we had a dog that damaged multiple blinds. Yeah. Things like that kind of help mitigate that risk for us.
So landlords aren't being greedy by charging you for your pet?
No. They just want to make sure that they're covered, Yeah.
Totally makes sense. Like the data's out on that, it's absolutely true. Like you have pets, dog owner households, the carpet has to be replaced more frequently, and carpet's very expensive. Oh my gosh. I mean, I've had people where they're like the I don't know what the little wood paneling on the bottom of the floor, what
just your molding.
Yeah, molding. Yeah. Like where some dogs have bit or damaged, and it's like, it's expensive, plumbers and electricians.
Doors. They scratch doors to the point of needing repair or
and it needs to look nice for the next tenant that comes in, right? Like it's not your home. Yep. You're renting and it's fine. So it's cool. Definitely value add as a landlord.
So that's something huge for us. And that's part of why I love real estate so much. I don't want to be an agent forever. I know agents that work until they're 80. I don't want to be doing that. Yeah. I want to have enough rentals. I'm still going to be buying and selling homes, I'm sure. But I want to have enough rentals that's my base income so that anything else I'm doing is just extra. And, we can live off of that rental income. And again, I want to help other people be able to do the same, right? Because there's enough homes. I can't buy them all. Nope. I can't be a landlord to, all of them. And I want to make sure people understand that so that, if there are I'd rather mom and pop, right, buy the homes and be landlords.
Than BlackRock.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I like the clarity there. So I've been really reading a lot about like mindset and stuff like that. It's like having a clear goal. I really like how you express that. It's like my goal is to do real estate and get to where I've got rentals that can do basic, and then I can do whatever I want, right?
Exactly.
Like my brother's always telling me that I should move to Maine and open a butchery business because both of us are passionate about that. It's like, yeah, well, if you've got a stable enough base that's
right,
I have enough income to live on, I can take a risk.
Exactly.
Right? It's not as risky to do something like that.
For sure. Exactly. Yeah. And I want to empower other people to do the same, right? Because why should I be the only one able to do that?
Yeah.
You know, I don't think I should. And as we know, inflation's hitting everybody hard right now. I mean, if you look at the data for credit card debt over the last 6 months, year, 5 years even.
Oh, it's gone through the roof.
It's insane. And I mean, I have so many friends and family members just stuck in the depths of that. And it really is. I mean, it's a chain that pulls you down and you can't really get out. I mean, it's rough. So real estate is a way to protect yourself from that too, because I know multiple people that have been able to refinance their home, pay off their credit card debt. You know, sure, they're wrapping that debt into their home, but they're going from a 26% interest rate to 5 or 6%.
Yeah, whatever the mortgage rate or HELOC is.
Yeah, and so it gives
you more power. Having a home is a tool because it's like, empowering. Okay, if you find yourself in that problem, you can utilize some of your. It gives you more options.
It does.
Yeah, or people that have like launched businesses with it. They're like, hey, we're gonna do this, and it's risky. But it's like, okay, I wouldn't have had the access to that $50,000 cash if I didn't. Yeah. Which is another example of what you said earlier about debt becomes less valuable, right? It's like, yeah, your $300,000 house, when interest rates go up and money becomes less valuable, your house might be worth $500,000 now. I mean, it might be worth the equivalent of $300,000 from years ago, but now you have access to leverage that if you need to, or if you need to move, right? Like, oh my gosh. So my brother, he called me the other day, like 2 days ago, and he was like, Jacob, I know you say you should own houses for forever. Because my plan with properties, keep them forever.
Right.
Because I'm like, I'm going to pay them off in 24-ish years from when I bought them. That's the way I have it mathed out. And that'll be permanent retirement income, right?
Yeah.
But he is like, I'm going to sell my house in Texas. Like, why? And he's like, well, the equity, because he bought in like 2017 here in Utah. And then he rolled that equity into a Texas property, a larger property just outside of like Fort Worth, Dallas area. And that area has kind of gone crazy recently. So he's able to sell his house and pay off his house.
Yeah.
He's gonna be mortgage free at 35 years old.
Which is
insane. It's because he got started 8 years ago.
Yeah.
It only is taking him 8 years to get that much equity.
Exactly. Where else could you take a 3.5% as a down payment, which on a, what's that on a $400,000 home? Less than $15,000, right? Yeah. So you're taking $10,000 to $15,000, investing it, and within 8 years,
off a house
you're getting that return. I mean, that's insane. It's magical. I love real estate.
And you learn and make mistakes on the way.
For sure.
For me, one of the big mistakes I made when I refinanced my first property, I got a lower interest rate, which is why I did it.
Yeah.
But I also took a little bit of cash out, and that wasn't great because it made the interest rate slightly higher, and now the margins are lower than. I'm like, oh, but you live and you learn.
Right.
You live and you learn. Have you ever made a big mistake?
Yeah, a few times.
Oh, I'm excited.
There's a couple different ones that really should have hurt us.
Yeah.
But ended up, my husband calls it the tuition of life. You're just paying tuition. And that's, I mean, if you think about going to college, you're paying thousands of dollars in tuition every semester. And sometimes
or not paying it.
Right.
And you have student loans.
Yeah. Which, then becomes tens of thousands of dollars. Yeah, probably one of our biggest ones that should have turned out bad, but it wasn't, was our first flip that we did. We bought it off market from a guy who owns a hardware store. His brother was the one that owned it and did some of the work. So it was kind of a half finished flip.
Okay.
It It wasn't really a flip. They were restoring the home. It was a historic home, 1895 is what it was, or 1896, somewhere in there. Very old.
By the U.S. standards.
Brick home, yes. Especially in Utah. We don't get homes. That's pretty much the oldest you get here. Yeah. So we bought that from, hardware store owner. He was blind. So he didn't know the condition of the house, really. His brother was the one that was doing the work. His brother is a master carpenter and does some incredible woodwork stuff. So the house was full of antique and half restored furniture. It was kind of just crazy.
Are the antiques the reason you bought it?
No. That was
your parents run a
yes, my parents have the antique store, right? So they partnered with us on it. So cool. they did take a HELOC out on their home. We used that to buy the house.
Leverage. Use it.
It's amazing. And we did that. We were able to buy the house. We did seller financing on that one, which is a whole other beast. Essentially, we bought it directly from them. We didn't get a mortgage on it, and we made interest-only payments until my parents were able to get their HELOC to pay them off and buy it that way. So that worked out really well.
Creative.
Yes. A little different. Very grateful we were able to partner with my parents on that. Because they were funding it financially, we were putting in a lot of sweat equity for it, which was great until I got pregnant and couldn't be up on a ladder painting in 30-degree weather.
That's reasonable.
Morning sickness with a balance on a ladder, and then you get a belly in the way, and, safety of the baby, all that stuff. Yeah. So, I ended up helping a lot less than we had initially planned. The biggest problem with it is it took us way too long. The property was an hour away from where we lived, so we had a lot of travel time. It wasn't in a place, there was no plumbing, that was working. So we couldn't stay in the home while we were working on it. So it just created a lot of logistical problems that way and ended up taking way longer. During that time, I got my license as a real estate agent. So thankfully, my parents ended up buying us out. They decided they were going to keep it for a short time as a second vacation home because it's in a cute little town that we love. But about 6 months after that, they decided to sell because, again, it wasn't far enough to be like a vacation, but it was too close to like be worth, it just didn't work out logistically. So we ended up selling it at a profit. Thankfully, that was during COVID and the market went insane. We ended up making, selling it for over $100,000 more than we had initially planned, which worked out for us because we spent $60,000 more than we had planned. But yeah, it was a lot. New plumbing, new electrical on everything, new roof on half of it, new stucco on part of it. The landscaping was really expensive because there were 6 or 8 massive trees that we had to take down. That was a couple $1,000s, just a lot of extra expenses. So it really should have screwed us, but thankfully the market was in a position that it didn't. The other good thing about it is my parents were in a position to keep it if the market wasn't, and so that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned is if you can hold on to it until the market improves, do. Right? Don't sell at a loss unless you're desperate to. But even then, there's ways to work around that. If you can keep making the payments because the real estate market will improve eventually, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter what 30-year period you want to use in history. It's always gone up.
Well, and one of the interesting things about Utah specifically is we have such a strong economy from all kinds of different industries, especially now. We've got agriculture, we've got tech, we've got, within tech, we've got multiple industries too. We've got just a lot of different things. And so our job market's strong here. We've got just a lot of good economy things that help us with that. With that being said, 2008, everybody references back to 2008. Most of us can remember when that happened. I was young. I had friends, parents who lost jobs and had problems during that time.
It was very scary.
It was. But in Utah, it only took 2 quarters
to recover
as far as real estate prices. So,
it's because it can't stay down long because we've got the jobs.
Yeah.
And Utah, also, from what I've seen lately, there's been a relative influx of population of skilled workers.
Yes.
Right. We're getting a lot, like we call it the Silicon Slopes, right? We got the tech people from California. We've got an influx of the wealthier crowd from Texas. And then you get some people coming down from, Idaho and Washington and Oregon. And it's because our economy is strong. But
for sure,
interesting enough, those people coming has improved the economy even more.
Exactly.
So it's been good here in Utah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and one of the good things too with the weather is there's always going to be construction problems, right? So we've got good blue collar jobs as well. So people that are skilled in that way, not just, college or tech related, but hardworking people. I mean, I know so many that are in that side of manufacturing, construction, and our world would not function without them. So I'm just very grateful for our blue collar, good Americans.
Yeah, we've got both. We got all of that here in Utah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad I was able to ask about mistakes because it makes me feel good knowing that I'm not the only one that makes mistakes.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the things that I remember when I first started working with you to buy the house, right? Besides your logo or catchphrase, right? I turn renters into landlords, which is so cool, by the way. I remember you showed up to look at a house with me. I think it was the day after, or maybe it was like 3 days after you had just given birth.
It was within 3 days.
It was within a week of you giving birth. And you show up to look at this house with me and you got this newborn baby strapped to your chest. I'm like, I don't know. I just think it's amazing. Why? I don't know. I'm not sure exactly how, other than just why. Like, how are you that person? Like, what's led you to be that way in your business?
I think the biggest thing for me, again, just going back to my parents and their ability to work through hard things. The antiques business, it's changed dramatically since the 90s when they got started. So, I was born in 1996 and my mom was the one that decided to open an antique store. They opened it in the front room of their house where, their living room is now. And it was, smaller than this room, essentially, with a couple display cases. And basically, she just decided she wanted to provide an income for the family, but be able to stay home with her kids. So, jokingly, she would always say, not even jokingly, because she legitimately did this, but 9 months pregnant, she was doing antique shows, hauling totes of antiques in and out of, what are they called?
Showrooms?
Yeah, showroom type things, events. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, that was what I grew up in, mindset. And I have people that recognize me from when I was the same thing, strapped to my mom's chest. And I was always just inspired by her diligence and hard work. She was able to, a couple months later, my dad decided to quit his job on a whim. And my mom was like, go back and get your job back. And he's like, no, I'm done. Like, it's kind of a toxic environment. I want to support you full-fledged in doing this antiques thing. And that's, they ended up renting a space on Spanish Fork Main Street. Later on decided to buy a block north, and so they bought their building 21 years ago. 11,000 square feet of retail space.
The value has gone up on that.
Yeah. We actually were talking about that yesterday.
It's a retirement plan in itself.
That absolutely is their retirement plan for sure.
Wow.
Because they haven't been paying into a 401k or anything else, being self-employed. So for me, that was probably the biggest motivation and probably one of the biggest mindset understandings that I had, different from a lot of people, is I never really wanted to go to college, be a doctor. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I mean, even as a 7, 8, 9-year-old, I would go to yard sales and buy Littlest Pet Shops at yard sales. I would clean them with, baby wipes and put the sets together and put them in the store and make money.
Wow.
So that I could go buy clothes or go buy, whatever else I wanted.
Yeah.
So that for me was huge. Just having that empowerment of I have a skill to see value in things that people can't, that other people don't. I can, what's the word I'm looking for? I can market things, right? Because again, if I put all the little animals in a little baggie and tie it with a ribbon, right? That's marketing. It's exactly. And that takes the value from $1 or $2 to $7 or $8, right? So that's one of the things that I love transferring over to real estate with people's homes is saying, okay, there's potential in this home. How do we highlight that? Right? How do we take that and make sure that people walking in the home understand this space? Because that's one of the biggest things is helping people understand the space. So a lot of that has translated to real estate and allowed me to, continue working from home, being there for my kids. They do go to daycare, a couple hours, like 20 hours a week, which brings its own mom guilt, as most of us understand. Yeah. But with that, I'm able to spend so much more time with my kids. And for me, that's just always been a priority.
Well, a lot of families where both members of the couple work, their kids are in daycare for 40. And again, you're right. It's not to guilt someone that's in that situation. It's just recognizing what you're able to do because of building a business. And that's super important because what do people want? Why do people want that wealth? Right? Why do people want to build a real estate rental portfolio? Why do they want to start a business? Why are they saving for 30 years? The goal for most of this financial wealth side is twofold, in my opinion. Yeah. It's to be able to do what you want, right? Yep. Like I want to spend time doing cool things with cool people. Yeah. Or I want to spend time with my family, right? A lot of people that do entrepreneurial stuff, they spend time with their family, right? Like you going to yard sales with your mom and finding value, like that family business. It's I don't know, it's cool, right? And I can even see it, like the owner of the agency I work at and have my own book at, Rob Jackson Insurance. He has 5 kids now, and he told me that, hey, I want my daughter to be able to bring up insurance to her friends when they're driving at 16 and get paid for helping them find insurance. And if they want to work in insurance with me, that's absolutely what I want, right? And why not? Like, why not provide value? Why not get your family involved? Like, that's how it used to be. You go back 100 years ago. Right. And everything was the family business, right? People didn't go to work for 40 hours with a bunch of random strangers in the back. So that's why I like what this represents, right? Is it's the opportunity to spend more time with family. That freedom. I mean, it comes down to freedom. We've fought wars over it in every decade, well, not decade, but every century for sure. That, freedom. So that's empowering. That's what I love about real estate, and just that ability to be who I want to be for people, and to just show up in authentic ways for people. I don't hide how I grew up. I don't hide who I am. And I don't want to hide the ability to make money in real estate. I mean, I took a friend to lunch a couple weeks ago. Her mom was an agent for 30 plus years. Yeah. And, she's like, a lot of our sphere overlaps, right? So if she were to become an agent, I would probably lose some clients, right? I don't care. If she wants to become an agent, I'm going to tell her all the great things about it. Like, let's talk about it. Let's help you if that's what you want to do. Because again, she's tired of not being able to spend time with her family. She works from home. She works full time, but she works from home. She has 2 little boys, and she just feels like maybe there's more that she can do, whether it's becoming an agent or, working some other type of job. But she sees that potential in entrepreneurship, which does bring huge amounts of freedom. I mean, it's restricting in a lot of other ways, but it's wonderful. So, okay. Walk me, I want to examine your business a little bit because I find it fascinating. I mean, I was thinking about what you were saying about your parents opening, their business in their front house. I mean, I was thinking from an insurance perspective, I was screaming inside. I was like, oh my gosh, that's insurance. But it was a lot more fine 30 years ago. Like nowadays, a lot of insurance companies ask, like, do you do grooming, hair grooming, or do you have a dog salon, or do clients come to your house for daycare for this or that? Yeah. And that's, of course, something worth considering insurance, but that's... Antique stores are one of the worst to insure. Yeah, so. No one wants to do insurance with it because it's either ultra high value stuff or unclear value stuff. Yep. And they're a bigger target for theft and things like that. Like you see a lot of the grates and protective things. But yeah, well, when you, right, like someone wants you to help sell their house and you see a house that's, older, like what are some of the, like, I don't know, getting into the mindset, like you're talking earlier about like value add or, oh, hey, is it, what do we need to do to spruce those properties? So, right, we tie a ribbon on it and it's worth $7 instead of $2. Like, What's your mindset? What does that look like?
So it's really going to be dependent on the seller and what their situation is. But we kind of have different ways to do it. So obviously one of the best ways is staging, right? You bring in cute furniture, again, help people envision what the space is going to look like. That's kind of a base level thing. And sometimes it's as simple as staging what the homeowners have, right? Sprucing things up, taking things out. Almost always people want open spaces. And so decluttering is like the number one thing, right?
Get your stuff, put it in a storage unit.
When you're living in the home trying to sell it, get as much out as you possibly can. So that's kind of the first level. Next level would be, bringing in professional stagers and having them, whether the home's vacant or not. Sometimes even if the home's not vacant, we can still bring in professional stagers, have them, come in and do some things with that. There's kind of a next level to it that's really cool. I've got a partnership with a company called Make It Market Ready, and they do exactly that. So they can come in. Typically, they want the home to be vacant. So whether you're moving out to live with family or, maybe it's grandma and grandpa's home and they've passed away, they come in and can basically do a flip before you get it on the market. As long as you have enough equity in the home, you don't have to pay for it until closing.
Oh.
So it's amazing. It's an amazing program. So
right,
they
you can wrap
come
it into
in,
some sort of equity tied thing where they got a line of credit against the equity. They can use
Not even that. The the contractor will hold it, all the fees and everything until you close on the home.
And then part of the closing costs goes to them or something. That's super
So just your
cool.
proceeds at closing.
Wow, I would have never, ever thought of something like that.
Yeah. And they've done cases where, it's net the home sellers, the homeowners, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 more than what they would have done without doing any repairs. So instead of giving that margin to a flipper or someone else, we're enabling the homeowner to do that. So it's hugely important. That's something that is really making a difference for this market, especially because if we're in more of a buyer's market than I've ever seen in Utah.
Yeah.
And I say that because any buyer that I'm taking around looks at a home and goes, I don't know, there's just not this, it's just not right. Let's look at some more. Wow. So then we look at some more, right? Because there's more homes on the market than we've seen for a long time.
Yeah, I've noticed that even. You see more for sale signs.
And they're staying in the yard a lot longer than they have for a long time. And you're seeing more expired listings, meaning, somebody listed it and it didn't sell.
It didn't sell and they just let it expire.
So with that, doing, the Make It Market Ready, and with that, we can, come in and stage the home as well, But again, you're taking it to another level and saying, okay, we're going to beat out all the other homes in this price range for condition, for move-in readiness, all those things. So you're getting an advantage, not just money-wise, right, but timing.
Well, I see one of the reasons why people are willing to pay, like people are talking, why on earth would someone pay $70,000 extra when you put in $20,000 worth of equity? It's like, okay, think about it. I live in a place that has an unfinished basement right now. Yeah. One of my neighbors sold their house for $100,000 more than they paid for it. They bought it 14 or 15 months ago. Yeah. And they're like, why? Well, they installed cabinets. He likes building. He's handy. Yeah. He built cabinets, like a TV cabinet stand built into the wall of one of the rooms upstairs. People love that. They're like, it's the number one thing people want. It's like, wait, are these custom cabinets? He's like, yeah, I built them myself. Right. Like, how cool is that? And they look professional. They're amazing. And the other thing is they finished the basement. They added an extra bed and an extra bathroom. So I was like, oh, well, I could finish the basement for $20,000 or $15,000. I think they did a lot of the work themselves. They paid like $15,000, finishing a full place. I think it's like 1,100 or 1,200 square feet. Right. And it's also where it's like, well, why would someone do that and pay $60,000 extra? It's like, okay, if I'm going to come in, I have to deal with a team that's coming in to build in my basement, going through my front door. I have to worry about leaving plastic wrap around my house for 3 months or 2 months or however long it's going to take them to do the project. I have to deal with where do I want the wall? And I have to make all these executive decisions. Oh, what sort of bath do I want? Right. Versus someone that can come in and it's ready to go. Right. Yeah, that's value and people pay for it in this market.
Well, you're paying for convenience, right? Which, I mean, are you buying a water bottle at Disneyland or are you buying it from Costco, right? So it's the same water bottle, right? But you're paying for that convenience. And that's essentially what you're doing. And it's not that one is more valuable than the other, right? But again,
people prefer one.
Exactly.
Over the other.
Right. Yeah. So you're just getting that, Yeah, you're just getting that advantage in the market.
Yeah.
So that's a huge one for kind of changing the value in a home. And I mean, they've done them as simple as, installing new flooring and paint.
Yeah.
Or they've done them as extensive as taking it down to studs and moving walls and,
wow.
HGTV level stuff, right? So there's different levels of it.
Scary. Make sure you have your home insured properly if you're moving structural walls.
And get an engineer.
Yes.
We've run into that.
Oh, do you want to talk about that? Or maybe not. Maybe another day.
Yeah, let's save that one for a while.
On another time.
Yeah.
My gosh, that whole well, speaking of roofs, one of the things that I'm always telling agents that like a big easy value add on is insurance is getting stupid in Utah. And I don't mean stupid. It's frustrating. Even as an agent, like how much time I spend with quotes is so much more. Like my average quote, I used to spend like 20 minutes doing a quote for someone, go through 25 insurance carriers. Now it sometimes takes me 2 hours plus for one person. And
you don't get paid for those, right?
Not always.
Yeah.
I don't get paid for that time. I get paid when I sell the policy. Exactly. Who cares if I took 20 minutes on it or 2 hours on it? But one of the biggest changes since the August 2024 hailstorms that almost every insurance carrier has adopted across the state is they either don't want roofs that are over 15 years old, or they don't want roofs that are over 20 years old, or if they're over 12 years old, they require an actual cash value endorsement on your roof, which basically means if you have a hailstorm that damages your roof, you're only going to get 90% of of the paid for. Or if it's older, like some companies, once it's 25 or 30 years old, they're only going to pay you 10% of the roof.
Yep.
Right. And that's if it's a roof only claim. Like obviously if there's a fire, they're going to include the roof and everything else. But like roof only hail and wind claims, it's becoming norm. Or they'll do a special deductible. So you have your normal $1,000 or $2,000 deductible, and a wind hail claim for the roof will be a 5% deductible. So if your home's worth $1 million, right, it's a $50,000 deductible for your roof or whatever that percentage is, right? You can do the math on it. I'm not an expert at math. I'm an expert at insurance. But so one thing I'm always telling real estate agents is while you're doing your process in sales is figure out when the roof was last replaced. Yeah. Get that on the seller disclosure statement. For sure. I have times where people bought a house a year ago and they come to me for quotes like my insurance doubled with this other company. They say my roof sold. And I'm like, how old's your roof? 99% of the time, no one has any clue. Right? Unless it was built in the last 25 years, and obviously it's usually the original roof. Well, if it's over 20 years old, I've had times where I can't find insurance for someone. It's like your roof's just too old. Right. Or it's really expensive. It's like, hey, sorry, the best option I can find is $3,500 a year. Where right now we're in a market where your average rate's like $1,500 to $2,000 for your average, $600,000 house. $1,500 to $2,000. I may have accidentally said 200.
Yeah, no, I think you're good.
So I'm always telling people, like, if you can get, right, especially because it's a buyer's market, if you can get some sort of incentive from the client that's selling, or from the person who's selling their home, it's like, hey, if you can get $15,000 to replace the roof, it's value for them. It's like you're gonna be able to sell your house easier if you're representing the seller or representing the buyer. It's value for them because it's, hey, we're gonna get your insurance cheaper. So it's value on all ends. It's like this is going to help you sell your home and potentially add value, or for the seller, or they can wrap it into the selling. It's hey, we're going to include money to replace the roof because there are some companies that will be like, okay, we'll rate it as a new roof, we'll give you the lower rate, but you need to get the roof replaced within 60 days or 90 days. So you can find ways to win. And I tell that to agents, and I have a few agents who've done stuff like that, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's shockingly easy to get a $15,000 concession to replace a 30-year-old roof because they're learning more and more. You kind of have to, or the person can't get, or they're going to delay closing because they have to go check 3 other agents to find an option. I've
got one closing next week, and this is part of, if you are a homeowner and do replace your roof, keep the documentation.
You want it on the seller disclosure. I've got the documentation.
So we just did that. So I've got one closing next week. The sellers, I texted them and said, hey, do you have the receipt showing when the invoice was paid for the new roof? Because I knew they did it in 2021. We put that in the disclosure, but their insurance wanted to see the paid invoice. And so we were able to provide that within a couple minutes, less of a hiccup for closing, and that's one of the things I love about digital receipts and invoices is it makes it so much easier to find that kind of stuff. But yeah, just being aware that, those are valuable things as a homeowner to keep track of. Is when did you replace the roof? Do you have a paid invoice showing that, what the extent of the work was done? Because a lot of people are like, oh, we got a new roof 2 years ago. Okay,
Do you have any documentation?
did they just reshingle, or did they go all the way down and replace the decking, or
Did they put new shingles? Because I had some
Right.
people where they've got 3 layers of shingles on their house, and insurance companies hate that. They hate
Right.
that. They don't want to insure it. I don't know why it's a higher risk, but there's something wrong with it where it's like if wind damage gets through, the whole thing comes off way easier. So they don't want to do it. So knowing what was done, knowing HVAC too, right? Like for homes that were built like 1955 is like a really big line for insurance companies.
Good to know.
If something's over 35 years in age, like if the heating system's over, and sometimes they want documentation. It's like we need documentation that the heating system was replaced, that the HVAC, because it's like HVAC has a lifespan.
Right.
You can't have a 50-year-old HVAC. It's not going to work the same way. When was the plumbing last updated? And sometimes some carriers want documentation that those are replaced, or one company now, and they're smart to do it and they give really good rates if you do it. But I've had one person do this.
Yeah.
They wanted a plumber to come through and do a full-blown inspection on the client's dime. It was like $800,
right?
Because they wanted to inspect the entire thing. It's like, what type of pipes do they have? How old do you think? Is there any signs of rust leaks? They wanted photos, documentation. It cut their insurance, but most people aren't going to do that. Right. Or they're going to fail an inspection because it's like, oh, there's all these problems. Or, ooh, I've got old polybutylene pipes. Nightmare. You don't want polybutylene pipes. Get the seller to pay for replacing those pipes.
There's all kinds of things. And again, the good thing about it is when you are buying a home, right, don't let those things freak you out, because again, we can negotiate with the seller and make sure that they, if it's something that you find out about the property that can be detrimental to them selling, they're going to want to pay to have it fixed, because now they're going to have to tell any buyer about that. Right?
Yeah. If you find a problem, don't hide it.
Yeah. That's a disclosure issue. And that can, that's really important. Disclosure issues are like the number one dispute when it comes to real estate law. Besides contract issues.
Yeah.
But
Disclose.
Disclose.
I know someone who did not disclose that they had settling from land subsidence that literally cracked part of their house, like down the kitchen line apart, and they resealed it themselves, didn't disclose it, got sued for $85,000 and lost and had to pay out of pocket.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, that's a, like cut and dry case. Just disclose it. Yeah. But if they had disclosed it
and the seller bought it as was, they
wouldn't have had to pay for it.
Obviously, they didn't want someone. Anyways, it's a whole thing. I'm absolutely flabbergasted. But whether that was intentional or unintentional dishonesty. Just tell everyone everything you know about the property.
Be honest in all your dealings. One of the interesting things about that, though, is Utah does not have a law requiring disclosure on stigmatized property.
What's a stigmatized property?
Specifically, if someone's died in the home, and it doesn't matter what kind of death, whether it's murder or just natural causes, whatever, you don't have to disclose that unless you know and a buyer specifically asks. If they specifically ask and then you should tell them. Oh, wow. But if they don't ask, then you don't have to tell. Same with a property that has had meth that has been remediated. You do not have to disclose. You don't have to disclose
remediated meth?
No. If it's been remediated.
No way.
I think you still should.
But you're not legally.
But you're not.
That is insane.
It's crazy. Yeah. So those are some of the kind of weird ones in Utah.
That's why it's important to have an agent.
Mm-hmm. Some states...
Just make a list of, here's the questions.
Yeah.
We need to ask all these questions.
Some states require you to, if it is stigmatized, death or whatever. So,
yeah, I mean, I personally wouldn't have a problem buying a property that someone's died in. But some people, they really care about that stuff.
That's important.
So, wow.
Well, and how they died, sometimes is...
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Really important. We just got back from Nashville and did a ghost tour, which was really interesting. I learned a lot of things about the Tennessee state capitol that I didn't think I was going to learn. But that was interesting to see some of their... My
brother lives out there.
Urban legends.
He's like 30 minutes outside of the main city.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Northeast. Yeah. Has chickens and a bunch of cute little kiddos.
Nashville was awesome.
Yeah.
It was super fun. I will go back, I think. But yeah, if you're ever there, do the ghost tour. Okay. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about President James K. Polk because he's buried on the grounds of the Capitol. Oh. There's the architect that built it and designed the Capitol is like buried in the walls. There's a mausoleum, and his mortal enemy, the financier guy, is buried on the other corner of it. It's wild. And it's on a Native American burial ground. And there was a Catholic church built on it before the Capitol was there with a cemetery. So if there's anywhere that's going to have ghosts, it'll be there. So that was crazy.
Yeah.
Anyways, that is a stigmatized
That
property.
would be a stigmatized property.
Only slightly.
There's a mausoleum there.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So that was quite interesting to learn about. But yeah.
Cool. Okay. Last few minutes here. I wanted to do a couple of like takeaway questions type things. So maybe for each of us, the three things I wrote down I wanted to ask was, okay, one mindset shift, something that you were able to think about, one practical thing that can be done, and then something cool you learned from the other person. So let's go for this. Okay, first one, mindset shift, something that's changed your mind about something. If you're ready, go for it. I need to think a second.
Yeah, give me a second.
The best part is we can edit podcasts.
Right. Makes it a lot easier.
A lot less stressful. This has been fun.
It has been.
Informative.
I think one of the biggest mindset shifts, there we go, is just this podcast studio. I hate editing video, any of it. And I feel like this is a really good option for coming in and doing a podcast and not having to deal with editing.
Yeah.
Because that's my least favorite part of any kind of content, is editing. So.
Big fan of the Rookery Studios.
Yes.
They're great. All your podcast needs. Editing. They can even help make like Instagram and like reels and clips and all that. Yeah, they're awesome. I can get you connected to talk to them if you wanted to afterwards.
Definitely.
I think for me, I really like the turning negatives on their head that you do, right? Where people stigmatize landlords and say that they're bad people. And I like that you turned that into what's the value I add, right? Like, I'm going to rent to someone that has pets where someone else might not. I can be a little bit more flexible with when you move in versus requiring a hard fixed date, or I can maybe do a 6-month lease instead of a 12 or a month. Like looking to every negative, there's a positive. And I think thinking about it that way, right? Or every $100,000 mistake or $40,000 mistake, right? There's a positive. I'm paying the tuition of life. So I really like the trying to be positive about things, not just for the sake, not toxic positivity, but recognizing the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
Right. You have to see the bad and the good and the good and the bad to be able to
There's a lot of power in and. That was hard, and I learned a lot of valuable things.
My gosh. I actually learned that about like relationships, like especially like with a partner or spouse. Frequently I use the word but, change it to and. Like I love you, but you did the dishes bad or whatever. Or, I love you, but you missed picking up kids from soccer or whatever, right? I love you and XYZ.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So I think that's really powerful in any type of language that we're expressing. So
yeah. Okay. Practical steps.
Yeah.
Something we can do. Wow. Practical. That's a good question to ask too.
I think for me, just realizing how valuable doing a first-time investor class would be.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you're already a landlord. You have multiple rental properties, but you would still find value in that. And I think that's really practical for me, just from our conversation, that people would find value in that, right?
When you do that, let me know, and I will put it on my platforms and say,
definitely.
Go see Devere's stuff.
Yeah.
Imagine it'll probably be like in Lehigh or Pleasant Grove.
Not
that super matters.
No, I've gone back and forth with doing it virtually or in person.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I just need to I want to switch off between that and first time home buyer classes. Right. And
you
just
get a camera, set it up.
Yeah. And do both. And it would be live. I wouldn't just do it as like an online course, because I feel like the Q&A is really valuable for those kinds of classes. Getting real-time feedback and questions. Yeah. It helps, especially because of the emotional side of things. Yeah. Proud stuff for me. Next time I buy a house. Yeah. That works. Again. Well, and that's the other thing. I mean, I call Jacob with insurance questions all the time. So it's one of the things I really appreciate about you is that I can just hand it off to you and I don't have to worry about it, whatever it is, whether it's a claim that we're doing, whether it's a client that I'm sending to you. Like, I know that you'll take care of it, which for me is huge, because I am kind of a, not micromanager, but I like to be able to hand things off to people and know that they're going to get the level of care that I expect. Yeah. Right. So that's huge for me. And I trust you with my people all the time. Thanks. Because I know Yeah, because I know they'll be taken care of.
I'm glad I get to do your insurance. It's fun, especially because I get to see the flips and the fixes and dealing with underwriting together, and I tell you exactly what I need, and yeah, it's fun. I'm sorry, I need more pictures of your roofs. I'm so sorry that's happened on multiple properties recently, but that's okay. Good prices sometimes are worth a little bit of hassle.
You know, when you're buying 100-year-old homes, 90, 80-year-old homes,
they're always more complicated. I don't know. Pre-1955.
I think the duplex we bought, I think it has cedar shake and 3 layers of shingles. We are redoing that roof before winter comes in full-fledged.
And for sure before March when the insurance renews. Yes.
But that one for sure is getting done because we, like, for the last 3 years, we need to do it before winter, and then you know, other expenses come up, and a roof costs a lot. So
roofs are expensive.
We're just trying to, Anyway, that was kind of a sidetrack. ADHD, you know.
Totally good. We're a big fan of ADHD here.
Yeah.
Okay. Suppose moving on to wrapping up. So if someone was like, wow, that was really cool, I want to work with Devere to buy my next house. Yeah. How can someone find you?
So the easiest way is on Instagram, Wilkey Homes, Wilkey, Homes with an S is the easiest way to get in touch with me. I'm on there pretty much every day, posting about what I'm doing, homes that I've got listed, how to, improve your home, things like that.
Or watching funny reels.
Yes. I have really tried to limit my consumption.
I know. Every day I get home from work and I've always got like 5 reels from my wife, and they're always funny and perfect.
Yes.
But yeah. Awesome. Okay. Wilkey Homes. Yeah. Best way to get a hold of you.
Yep.
Perfect. And I'm sure there's like website links.
Yeah. And all that's in the bio there.
Instagram.
Or if you just look up, my name on Google, you can find me pretty easily. But yeah, we'll link some of that too. So
cool. Awesome. Okay. I don't know if I anything else you wanted to share with the audience, with me?
I'll share like a quick tip. So one of the best ways so going back to roofs, we've talked a lot about roofs today. One of the best ways to improve value on your home, number 1 is roof, kitchens, baths. Like those are the number 1 renovations that dollar for dollar you're going to get out from putting in. So roof, kitchen, bathrooms, and surprisingly, a new garage door is one of the best ways to improve curb appeal, and you get more dollars out than you put in.
I have a connection for garage door people if you would like one. Yeah. He's great. Like they do like 60% of Utah's garage doors, and they're awesome. I'm scheduled to come fix my garage door soon because
love that.
My metal thing. I didn't realize that garage doors, that's interesting. That there's a lot of value in garage doors. Okay.
But if you think about it, most homes you drive up on, that's one of the first things you see is the garage door. So kind of a cool little tidbit.
Modernize it.
So,
Well, awesome. Thanks for being on. This has been exciting. Yeah. You've watched and listened to Financial Ginger with Jacob Johnson with my guest, Devere Wilkey.
Yeah.
Been fun.
Thanks.
Yeah. See you guys next time.